So as the title states, this is my Beretta 1301 Tactical, and I'm upgrading it with Aridus parts. Aridus Industries seems to be the leading maker of upgrade components for these guns. I've already installed the Nordic extension tube on here. Next, I'm waiting on the Aridus handguard. They use a Magpul piece that they modify, and then they make a custom piece down here to hold it all into position, and that gives you you know, some attachment points. I probably won't end up using the light mount here because I bought a cloud defensive, the rain tactical light for the front of this, and it's going to need to sit back further. So you know, I'll probably utilize that once I get it. But this video is how to install the Aridus Industries adapter plate for the Mossberg stock here, and this is available. You can get cheek risers for it and stuff like that. I haven't done any of that yet. There's also extensions that allow you to step it out. It's like there's 4 of them, and it can go out quite a bit further. So anyway, let's get into it. If you look at the install instructions that Aridus provides, they're rather basic, but they get the job done. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to make sure your weapon is empty, which I've already done. I don't know if you can see in there or not, but it is empty and clear, and there's nothing in. I've already emptied everything out of the tube as well. So the first thing you're going to do is, and I've already done a little bit of this, you're going to remove the butt pad, which is held on by a couple of Phillips screws, which you can't see because they're inside of that little hole right there. But if you just stick your Phillips head screwdriver in there, you'll get it, and you'll just have to remove that. Once you've done that, there's a 13 millimeter nut. This is inside, and that's in there. You'll use an extension, and you'll undo that, and then once you do that, the butt comes right off. And now you're left with this part of the gun, and the next step is going to be to remove this, which, in looking at it, there is a flat spot, I guess, down on here. From what I understand, there's also, let me see if I can get it better. Can you see the flat spots there on both sides? So you'll be able to get like a crescent wrench, or I guess I'll tell you in a minute what the correct size wrench is, but there is Locktite on this apparently, so it might be a little tough to get out, but we'll go ahead and do that here in a second. So the correct size for the flat spots on here is a 12 millimeter, as you can see right on there, and mine wasn't really on there very tight. I was gonna loosen it up because I thought, you know, maybe it was gonna be a bear, and I didn't want to look silly on camera, but there wasn't much to it. You know, you can see there's some Locktite on there of some sort, you know, but it was not in there very hard, so that came out very easy. So next will be go ahead and put the Locktite on the new fastener that comes with the Aridus kit. So in the instructions, it says to coat both male ends of their adapter piece here. This is what's going to hold the Magpul stock on with the Aridus adapter. It says to coat both the male ends and give it 10 minutes to 30 minutes to set before you put it in for best results. So, you know, you don't have to go too crazy. So you see there, got it on that end good, and then I'll switch it around over here. You know, you don't have to get every single thread, because you're just going to make it harder on yourself if you ever have to take it apart. And even what I've done here is probably a little excessive, but yeah, that's all it takes. So, you know, once you've done that, give it 10 minutes at the minimum, you know, 30 minutes on the high end for it to kind of cure up a little bit prior to going ahead and installing it into the receiver. So with thread lock stuff ready to go now, I found that the 7mm wrench fits the best. In the instructions it says use pliers. I checked and I believe it was 9/32 also would kind of work, but it was a little loose, so I wasn't going to mess with it, and I don't want to strip anything out or round anything over. So go ahead, and it says to thread this in now. You just gotta start slowly and find where the thread's made up and start. And now that she's there, it's going to be a tight fit, but just go ahead and tighten it up. So now that that is snugged up, the next step is going to be to install the Aridus adapter plate. Again, this is the adapter plate. This is the way that it goes into the back of the Beretta here. So you put this through. As you can see, that passes through. There's spacing for all the components that are stock in there. And then from there, you're going to install your nut that has, if you look here, it's got some setup for a Allen key, which they provide in their packaging. Obviously, buy your own Magpul stock. The Magpul stock has this little cutout here. It comes with this little plate that fills in the gap. But if you don't, or if you want, depending on what setup you're going with, you can purchase a little plate that replaces this and then gives you a place on the side to mount, a sling or something like that. So I'm not going to go that route. So I'm going to go ahead and, get this thing run through here. Nice fit there, and then get this started down here. All right, there we go. It's finally started. So now that's started to thread, you can go ahead and just tighten this down. And once you get this tightened down, the only thing you got left to do is to put the cap on here at the top to cover this section up, and you are good to go, unless you want to make some adjustments to the length of pull and add some extra spacers onto the stock. But as you can see, everything's starting to tighten up here. The gaps are going away. Almost there. It doesn't give a torque spec or anything. I'm gonna get it nice and snug because I assume as I cycle some ammo through this thing, the shocks will want to loosen it a little bit. And that is now in there. As you can see, you got the window. Comes with this little piece here. You got a tab on this end, and then a bit of a locking clip on that side. So you will put your tab in on this side first, and then push it down and in, and there you go. You now have installed the Aridus adapter plate kit for the Mossberg stock, the Magpul stock. And yeah, looks pretty awesome. I'm excited to get out and cycle some ammo with this thing. I'm waiting on the RMR Crom for this. I have a Hollow Sun red dot that I'm going to put on it. And then, as I said earlier, I'm waiting on the handguard for this, as I'd like to get that Aridus handguard on there as well. And at some point in time, I'll get the QDC for some extra ammunition to have with me all the time. But otherwise, this thing looks pretty sweet.